Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video on Superman Lois Season 4. Today we got two sneak peeks to break down. They are actually really insightful, especially the first one that we're going to be talking about. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos later this year. Okay, so Superman Lois Season 4, Episode 4 aired the other day. Episode 5 is coming out this Monday, so look forward to that. And there has already been two sneak peeks that have been released by various sites. One by WFLA, alongside an interview with Michael Cudlitz, and also one from K-Site TV and Krypton site. So links will be in the description below so you guys can go ahead and watch the sneak peeks. The first one we're going to be breaking down is the WFLA one. They basically got given the footage by the CW, and it's a scene between Superman and Lex Luthor. And it is a really interesting scene because obviously Lex knows Superman is back. As we saw in the trailer, we know that Lex is infuriated by this development and he plans to return to Smallville. And as he returns to Smallville, this is where we pick up this scene, and Superman stops in front of his car, and you'll see in the 5-minute video that is linked in the description below on their website. Basically, you have the scene at the start, it's like 30 seconds or something like that, but if you skip forward a bit, there is more footage and it gives you the context of Lex showing up and Superman confronting him. So what happens in the sneak peek is Lex pulls up, he's on his way into Smallville from Metropolis, he is driving alone, and he sees Superman standing in front of the car. So Lex gets out the car as Superman faces him down and asks him to stop harassing his family, and Lex replies, "Because you destroyed mine." And obviously this is the whole motivation behind everything that Lex is doing. He wants to get revenge on Lois and Superman's family for putting him away so that he's distanced away from his daughter. He still hasn't seen his daughter yet since he's been released, and he is on this mission. And now with the return of Superman, standing face to face with the guy that he thought he killed and was out of the way, now he's back, he needs to finally put the nail in the coffin and return to Smallville and try to finish what he has started. And actually the most interesting thing about this confrontation between Lex and Superman in the present day is in fact that Superman admits that they were wrong to lock Lex up for this account. Obviously if it was a real thing and Lex has committed many crimes, then he can definitely go back to prison and you don't need to feel bad about it at all. But on this case, obviously it was a made up voice recording. So I like that Superman is willing to admit that he was wrong, that Lois was wrong, and they want to rectify stuff, but Lex is so driven and he wants to get revenge because that's the only way that he can see this all being fair in the end. But as you hear in the sneak peek, Lex doesn't want Superman's apology and he won't stop because this is the only way he sees everything working out and going in his favor, because if he just gives up on his revenge plan right now, that's him giving in, and that's not Lex Luthor. Lex wouldn't do that. He is driven, he knows what he wants, and he wants to inflict the same pain to Lois that she inflicted to him by making him go to prison and separating from his daughter. And although he kind of inflicted a different kind of pain with the death of Superman and also her father, everything's kind of worked out in the end. Like, Superman is back. Obviously General Lane did die, but his sacrifice was for a great cause, obviously to bring back Superman, and now you can see it's actually Superman facing off against Lex rather than one of the boys. So in the end, things have been working out, but this is not the case for Lex, and he is infuriated by everything that's going on right now, especially with the return of Superman, and he is probably going to send Doomsday his way. And obviously with Lex returning to Smallville, that means that he's trying to inflict as much pain as possible from his own hands, and we'll see how he goes about that in this episode. So that's the sneak peek that they released. Obviously we'll talk about the second sneak peek in just a minute, but I just want to say Michael Cudlitz is killing it as Lex Luthor, and seeing him facing off properly against Superman one-on-one is great, because we didn't really see that at the end of last season. There was a couple of scenes, but that was pretty much it, because then Superman went away, he fought Doomsday, then he died, and it's pretty much been Lois and the boys versus Lex, and now we're finally getting Superman versus Lex Luthor, which is obviously the classic showdown, and I can't wait for Lex to actually suit up into his Lexo suit and fight Superman. But that probably won't be for a couple of episodes. I don't think that's going to happen this episode, because we know he will be clean shaven at one point, and that's when he will suit up in his Lexo suit. So let's move on to the next sneak peek. This is to do with Jonathan, because he's in a bit of a situation with his long distance girlfriend, who I totally forgot existed. Obviously Candace has been around on the show for a long time, but she hasn't been a big thing this season. There's been absolutely no mention of her, and I totally forgot that they were still together. I thought maybe they just ignored that and they wouldn't bring back the actor, but it seems she is back, and I think she will return at some point later this season as well. So she was a pretty big thing in the first couple of seasons with the other version of Jonathan, obviously played by Jordan Elsas, and now Michael Bishop is actually playing alongside her. It's an interesting dynamic. It's not really computing in my head just because I kind of forgot that Candace was going to be involved. But Jonathan is in a bit of a situation now that he's got powers, and Jordan has taken a step back in terms of doing the superheroing while Superman is not fully up to speed. That means that Lois is always going to be coming to him, asking him for help to fly to Metropolis or to do this, do that. And now that Candace has shown up in Smallville, obviously she's been living away from Smallville. That's why she hasn't been around so much, and that's kind of why I forgot that she existed for a while. With her return, Jonathan is in a bit of a pickle, explaining why he keeps on disappearing. He talks something about like a dog shelter or something like that, doing a puppy adoption thing, and he needed to get a story. I don't know, is he working with his mum? Is that his excuse? I just feel like it's a terrible excuse, and Candace actually notices this, and she knows that he is lying, and Jordan is just there sipping on his cereal in the background. And by the end of the sneak peek, when Jonathan has to go off with his mum because obviously he's on Superboy duties, Jordan is left to explain what is going on, and I'll really be curious to see what type of excuse he comes up with. And I feel this is a similar situation to when Jordan and Sarah were together in the earlier seasons, when Jordan wanted to reveal the truth to Sarah because he kept on having to come up with some excuses. And obviously Jonathan is a bit more active in the field right now, so that's a little bit different. However, I think it is quite similar. And the question is, will Jonathan have to reveal his secret to Candace, and will his dad allow it? Because obviously this is a huge secret, and we know there's been some beef in the past with Candace's dad, who was a terrible guy. And if he found out that Clark was Superman and that the whole family have powers and everything like that, that could be terrible. So there has got to be a lot of precaution, because if they do tell Candace, there is always the risk that her dad could find out, and that could be really bad for the family. And just to give you guys a little bit of context around the entire episode, we got the synopsis that we can break down. By the way, this episode is titled Break the Cycle, and this is episode 5. It's directed by Elizabeth Henstridge of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the synopsis goes like this: Lois makes increasingly bold moves as she tries to stop Luthor. Jonathan struggles to balance his personal life and responsibilities, while Clark learns an unsettling truth. So what we've seen in the sneak peek in regards to Lois, and obviously getting Jonathan involved, it seems she is making those bold moves throughout this episode, and this is just one of those bold moves that she is making. So I'm guessing Jonathan is having to fly Lois back and forth to Metropolis to target Gretchen and also Lex's other henchmen, but obviously Gretchen is the easiest way to get through to him, as we saw at the end of last episode. And with Jonathan, as the synopsis suggests, he is struggling to balance everything. Obviously, he has a lot of responsibilities now since Jordan has taken a step back, which I know a lot of you guys have questioned why he's done that, but we'll have to wait and see for the next couple of episodes. And then meanwhile, Clark is going to be learning an unsettling truth. I don't know what that is in regards to, but I don't think that has anything to do with the scene that we talked about at the start of this video between Superman and Lex Luthor. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Remember, this episode is coming out on Monday night. This is episode 5. We're at the midway point of the final season. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. It would really help this video get out there. Also subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. I'll have a new video out tomorrow in regards to the photos that they released for this episode, because there is a couple of flashbacks that include Superman and Lex Luthor as well. So for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.